Elon Musk is not going to space because he loves science. He is going because whoever controls low Earth orbit controls the next century's economy. The numbers are staggering. In 2021, the global space economy stood at $469 billion. Analysts at Morgan Stanley now project that figure could top $1 trillion by 2040. What changed? It is not rocket science, it is market incentives. For decades, space was a government playground, an expensive stage for national prestige. Now, it is a magnet for private capital, venture funds, and corporate giants who see not just the stars, but dollar signs. Why are investment banks and sovereign wealth funds suddenly tracking satellite launches alongside quarterly earnings? Because satellite broadband, Earth observation, and launch services are no longer niche. They are fast becoming the backbone of global commerce and security. Every new satellite, every orbital slot, is a piece of prime economic real estate. The rush is not about planting flags or chasing the unknown. It is about getting a claim on the next layer of the world economy, one that could double in value within a generation. When projections run this high, who can afford to sit out? SpaceX's Starlink constellation now numbers over 6,000 satellites, more operational hardware than every other country combined. How did a single company come to control such a vast chunk of the sky? The answer is simple. Whoever pays for launches gets the orbital slots, and those slots are running out fast. The International Telecommunication Union allocates low Earth orbit positions on a first-come, first-served basis, but the supply is finite. Every new Starlink launch carves out more of this invisible real estate, leaving rivals scrambling for leftovers. Why does this matter? Because in a world where satellite internet is the backbone of everything from banking to battlefield logistics, owning the network means holding the keys to modern life. When Ukraine's ground networks collapsed in the opening days of the Russian invasion, Starlink terminals restored command and control links almost overnight. For Ukraine's military, it was not just internet, it was survival. In that moment, a private company's satellites became critical infrastructure for a nation at war. The message to governments and competitors is clear. The era when space was a public trust is over. Now, orbital dominance is a product you can buy, and the price is measured in contracts, not curiosity. Asteroid 16. Psyche sits in the headlines as an astronomically large prize, sometimes quoted as $10,000 quadrillion. Supposedly, it contains enough metal to crash Earth's economy several times over. But how close are we to hauling back that fortune? The reality is not very. Most asteroid mining concepts have not left the lab. The technology to extract, refine, and transport metals from deep space sits at technology readiness level 5 or 6. Think working prototypes, not production lines. Even if a robotic miner could land on Psyche, it would face microgravity, extreme temperatures, and a communications delay of up to 45 minutes each way. The cost to launch a demonstration mission is pegged at $2 to $3 billion, and that is just to prove the basics. Commercial viability likely remains decades away, unless launch prices drop below $500 per kilogram and a real market emerges for off-world metals. So why the gold rush talk? Because legal incentives are already in place. Luxembourg's 2017 law lets companies claim ownership of whatever they extract, turning hypothetical resources into real financial assets on a balance sheet. The hype runs faster than the hardware, but the legal groundwork is already shaping who gets rich, long before the first shovel hits alien soil. On paper, the rules for the Moon are simple. The 1967 Outer Space Treaty bans anyone from claiming a chunk of lunar territory. The language is sweeping for all mankind, but leaves a loophole wide enough to drive a mining truck through. The Artemis Accords, rolled out by the United States in 2020, take full advantage. Signatories agree they will not plant flags, but they can extract and use lunar resources under national law, as long as they do not claim sovereignty. Is this a noble commitment to exploration, or just the legalese of a trillion-dollar land rush? Not everyone is buying it. China and Russia have drawn their own line in the regolith, formalizing a partnership for a permanent lunar base by 2035. Their agreement, registered with the United Nations, calls for joint development, shared data, and, though never stated outright, a parallel system of lunar governance. The world is watching two rival camps take shape: the Artemis Coalition, with its soft law resource clause and United States-backed contracts, and the bloc led by China and Russia, building a separate legal and strategic infrastructure. What happens when both sides start digging? With the Artemis signatories interpreting use as permission to extract, and the China and Russia partnership treating any carve-out as a threat to the common good, the Moon is quickly becoming less a symbol of unity and more a map of new alliance lines. In the fine print of these agreements, the next economic frontier is already being divided. Everyday life runs on invisible infrastructure, and much of it is now floating overhead. The timing signals that let banks settle trades and ATMs spit out cash, those come from satellites. The global positioning system isn't just for directions. It guides container ships, tracks delivery trucks, and keeps factories humming with just-in-time logistics. Miss a beat, and global supply chains can grind to a halt. Even your phone call or video chat might bounce through a private satellite network before reaching its destination. But what happens when one company has control of that network? Starlink already claims more than 70% of global low Earth orbit broadband revenue, and in some regions, its market share tops 90%. The risk isn't just technical, it's economic. A service outage, a price hike, or a licensing dispute could ripple instantly through everything from grocery deliveries to emergency response. When the backbone of daily life is owned by a handful of players, who decides what stays online and at what cost? Satellites may orbit in silence, but the threats circling them are anything but quiet. Anti-satellite missile tests have tripled in the last decade, each one spraying new debris through the orbital lanes. One collision, just one, could trigger a chain reaction, a Kessler cascade, turning billion-dollar assets into shrapnel. Insurance premiums for satellite operators have spiked more than 60% since 2018, reflecting a world where jamming, hacking, and even targeted laser attacks are now routine risks. The International Interagency Space Debris Coordination Committee issues guidelines, but compliance is voluntary, and enforcement is non-existent. How fragile is this new infrastructure? A single cyber attack or a stray piece of junk could knock out navigation, banking, or emergency services for entire regions. The higher we build, the harder we fall. As space becomes a trillion-dollar battleground, who decides who profits? When orbital lanes fill and treaties bend, is exploration just branding for the world's most expensive turf war? Let's hear your take below.